mentioned in my most recent Patreon video that I've been working a lot doing projects for the upcoming holiday season. My plan today was to make some tote bags that I could applique and embroider and potentially sell in my shop or for a pop-up that I'm going to be doing this December. So today I'm going to share my go-to tote bag tutorial. It's fairly simple, it's beginner friendly. I'm going to be using this fancy fabric. My plan is to applique it. I love making my own tote bags and grocery bags, shopping bags, and I also like to have tote bags stocked in my online shop if I can. This is a very basic tote bag based on a bag that I already had, and I've just been using the formula. Once you get the general idea, you can play around with the size of the bag, make it a mini tote bag, a jumbo tote bag, add pockets, add a lining, and then of course you can embellish it with embroidery or applique or whatever you like to do. These are a couple tote bags that I made and then I embellished them. They're for the pop-up that I'm gonna be doing, which the shop that it's gonna be at, their theme is the Feast of Seven Fishes. So I'm kind of going with a Italian tomato theme. This is velvet applique on a doily that I happen to have, but I'll show you how to make the base tote bag. This is just kind of the classic tote that I always make. I have fairly long straps because I'm tall and I like to wear a tote bag with a winter coat and have enough room for it to rest on my shoulder. Same idea, a little mini applique tomato on another lacy doily. But yeah, you get the idea. Sometimes I like to do embroidery instead of applique. Tote bags just make a great base for anything. You could also use fabric paint if you like to draw and do some kind of design like that, or screen printing if you're into that. Anyways, let's make a tote bag. Like I said, I've got this fancy fabric that I'm going to use, and I'm going to cut a long rectangle out of it. The dimensions that I'm working with are 16 by 36 inches. I also want to cut 2 strips of fabric measuring 24 inches long by 3.5 inches wide for the straps. First, I'm going to sew the main body of the tote. I'm going to fold the right sides together and stitch the long sides. I forgot to mention I'm doing 1/2 inch seam allowance, and now I'm gonna add a zigzag stitch along the raw edge so that it's a bit neater. Next, I want to give this shape more dimension, so I'm going to flatten the seam into a triangle and sew it across. Just like this. I did this on the other side too. Next, I'm going to hem the top of the bag, folding down once at about 1/4 inch and then again at about 1 inch, pressing the fabric so that it looks neat when I stitch it. I'm going to stitch this hem down. Once that's done, I'm going to move on to making the straps. I folded down both sides of the long edge about 1/4 inch and ironed it. And then I'm going to fold that in half and iron it again. I'm going to sew that fold closed using my sewing machine, and then also sew the other side down so that both sides have top stitches. Then the very last thing I have to do is attach the straps. I usually eyeball where I want them to go, but of course you can use a ruler to make them centered. I usually pin mine down and then sew them in a little X pattern so that they're very secure. everyone, this is how the tote bag came out. It's quite a fancy material for a tote bag, but these are for the Christmas pop-up, so I figured why not? Before I go and end this video, I do think I want to add a tomato applique on the tote bag out of some red velvet, so I'll take you through how I do that. I've got my tote bag here, and then the fabric that I want to use for the applique, it's a red velvet that I figured I would cut a tomato out of and stitch it on, and then I might embroider the green top of the tomato. So I'm just going to cut out a rough circle to start. Like so. So my method for appliquing usually is to zigzag stitch around the raw edges, but I'm trying to be a little neater with this project. So what I'm gonna do is fold back the edge of the velvet and pin it in place so that I can hand stitch the tomato onto my fancy fabric. All right, so here's my velvet pinned all around. You want to be extra careful not to pin both sides of the fabric, only the top layer. So now I'm going to go bring this over to my desk and hand stitch around the edge of the velvet. Here's how that came out after hand stitching the velvet. So the last thing I want to do is embroider a little like green top to the tomato. So I need to find an embroidery needle. I think this one will do. And I'm gonna grab some bright green thread. I think this will do. I think I'm just gonna do a chain stitch sort of thing, and I'm not even gonna draw it out. I'm just gonna kind of guess it since it's nature and it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little off kilter. There's my little tomato. I think I will lint roll it. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more of my projects, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to leave a tip or check out my bonus videos, I have a Patreon. I'll link it in the description below. It's $5 a month. And I'll also link my shop in the description below. I will be back with another video soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.